So we can imagine this is the top of the head, place it, and just 1/3 of the paper is the head, and the other third is body and hands. So 1/3, I imagine this is the end part. You can add the line to make it more easy, separate for yourself, and even the body is good to be like here. This is the third of the body, this is for the head, and the rest is for his hand. And it's not exactly on the center, a little bit more toward the left side. So I place both left and right side of the face here. Somewhere like not exactly close to the right, but a little bit toward the left. And it's facing like this, so it's not straight. The line is not straight, in an angle. So we can draw one angle line like this to show the face is turned toward left. So this is about the top of the head, and we can connect this toward the left and right, and then a little bit in an angle, bring it down in a simple shape, but this part is moved down a little bit more. So the next part is 2 ears, is like triangle shape, but in a curved line. So this is exactly moved down. If I imagine this triangle shape, I would like to make it a little bit gentle C-curve from the top, come inside a little bit more and a little curvy here, then come inside, and then reach to the face. We don't use any white color in our painting, so we need to know that all the white that you see, it's just the paper. So we need to keep the paper white. I'm going to mix, first of all, yellow ochre or raw sienna, both are fine. So both are so close together if you have. This is yellow ochre. Drop of water on top. Here, I would like to make it a little bit runny, like that. And then beside that, another yellow ochre bring, and then mix with burnt sienna. Burnt sienna is a reddish brown. If you don't have reddish brown, you can use dark brown and mix with the red a little bit. Give us something close to this color. So this is reddish brown. And now I'm going to use this two color on top. And any darker color we see, it's the last brush stroke. So prefer to work on watercolor with 2 layers, not more than that, because if you work more and more, get the painting more dirty, and it's better, less is more in watercolor. And we start with lighter tone, then with the second layer, we move on with darker tone. So the light tone and the first layer is more water-based. Clean the brush, start with this yellow ochre, diluted whole brush into that, and start adding some tone around the face. You can use tip of brush for all the details or smaller part. If you have a lots of tone, try to reduce it by adding the water inside, and then control the amount of water by napkin. And so gently use the tip of brush for adding some paint around the face, even around the eyes. I'm not going to the mouth, just this part of the face, and even the left side. The left side is more dark because it's in shadow. So I'm going to use this one and then move on with the darker tone a little bit. Because it's wet, when you bring darker tone, it can move into that blend and give us a little bit darker tone, like here. Always water and napkin, it's so helpful to control the amount of water. With the same color, move on top of the ears. But I would like to keep some part white, so I'm not cover whole the ear with this color. Just use the tip of brush to move the brush stroke so gently. Even this part, it's okay to keep it colorful, but in between I keep this part a little white of the paper and one line white of the paper here. And then the rest is okay to add a tone or even one line here. So I just keep this part of the paper white and then add a tone around it. And then move on with the darker color like the brownie, reddish brown, for some movement here, a little bit here, and 1 or 2 strokes around this part. And then leave it get dry by itself. They are wet, they move together very gently. Add a drop of water, bring it here. It's more watery because I would like to have a lighter tone. So I start under the neck. Here I would like to add one gentle darkness. Be careful. It should be darker than this, but for the first layer is enough, this darkness. I bring it here, but I would like to fade it to the paper. So wash the brush, clean it by napkin, reduce the amount of water. It's still wet. Try to touch the edges. So it's really lovely. You can fade this color into the background. You see, very gently move it to the background. So we can repeat it again on the left side. But it's hide under the leash, so I'm not faded anymore because this is the line of the leash that I'm going to add the tone on top later. So add the tone here. Use tip of brush, please, for some small part. Keep this part a little white and then move on with the wet brush stroke here. Even from this part under the leash, we would like to add some tone, but even fade to the background. So clean it by water, reduce the amount of water. Anytime you want to fade any surface, touch the edges. Some part white as a paper, move on. Very nice, light here on top. Even we can fade it to the paper by adding a drop of watery brush stroke. And then for the hands as well, same color. I'm going to make one part darker. Under this is dark, light is come from here. So this part is light and this part is more on shadow. So I'm going to add this tone, yellow ochre or mustardy color here on the bottom of the hands, and then move down. Half of it is add some tone. Control it by water, disappear the edges. And then move on with brownie color, reddish brown. And add one brush stroke here. And then leave it like that. Then when we add the fabric, which is blue, it's separate the other part of the hand, so it's more visible. And now move on again back to the creamy color or mustardy color of yellow ochre here. Add a tone. Here too. And move down. Here. I have some shadow here, this two part and a little bit on this part. So it's not much dark for the body. A little creamy, sorry, a reddish brown. Just a touch of darker brown into that. And one stroke here, I mean, to knit. The other is just one stroke here. I don't want to add more. And let it disappear to the body, to the background. Here is dark already. And yeah, I think I'm okay with it. Just one touch of darkness here and one touch of darkness here. Then we can leave it get dry. Or even we can move on the other part. Just one stroke here too and here, which is interesting to have different tone. So now I'm going to use the bigger size of brush for the fabric and then move on for the features. So back to this brush. My fabric is blue. So I'm going to use these two blue. One is cerulean, which is the light blue color. Add a drop of water and bring it the watery brush stroke here. And even the cobalt too. This two is so good for the fabric. I'm going to add this two here. Lighter tone, so add a drop of water. So gently touch this part of the body. Make it separate, bring here. So be careful not to go inside, and then would like to shape this fabric like that. Bring it down. Even when we want to make it lighter, we can add a drop of water and let it disappear. Add a tone here. As I mentioned, we can separate the hand with this brush stroke. So now it's helped this hand come out. But still, we need to make some part really, really darker. It's just a lighter tone. We have two different techniques. We can wait everything get dry, then add the darker tone on top, or right away make a little bit dry brush stroke like this is the ultramarine blue. A little bring it here. Ultramarine is darker than cerulean and cobalt. So I want to add one drop of brown into that, like that. Control it with the amount of water, control it by napkin. Here is much dark, so I'm going to add one stroke with this paint here. So, now we can move on for the features. So back to this brush. My fabric is blue. So I'm going to use the bigger size of brush for the fabric and then move on for the features. So now I'm going to use the bigger size of brush for the fabric and then move on for the features. So now I'm going to use the bigger size of brush for the fabric and then move on for the features. So back to this brush. My fabric is blue. So I'm going to use the bigger size of brush for the fabric and then move on for the features. So now I'm going to use the bigger size of brush for the fabric and then move on for the features. So now I'm going to use the bigger size of brush for the fabric and then move on for the features. So now I'm going to use the bigger size of brush for the fabric and then move on for the features. So now I'm going to use the bigger size of brush for the fabric and then move on for the features. So now I'm going to use the bigger size of brush for the fabric and then move on for the features. So now I'm going to use the bigger size of brush for the fabric and then move on for the features. So now I'm going to use the bigger size of brush for the fabric and then move on for the features. So now I'm going to use the bigger size of brush for the fabric and then move on for the features. So now I'm going to use the bigger size of brush for the fabric and then move on for the features. So now I'm going to use the bigger size of brush for the Then clean the brush. With the brown color and control by napkin, I would like to add some movement with the brown here to make some like eyes need to see some warm color into the bluey fabric, and even some bluey into the dog as well. So because of that, I'm going to add some brownie brush stroke into the fabric. Just randomly add some stroke like that. The warm color of the dog effect on the background or on environment and a fabric that we see. It's so important to have the balance in everything. And 1 or 2 brush stroke would be fine. Not make it really busy everywhere. Even on the cobalt, because cobalt it's so cool color, I can bring some warm brown, make it a little nice. So here I think it's cut from the background. Because of that, I'm going to bring some bluey into this part with 1 stroke, 2 stroke. Now let the body have some bluey tone. Even clean the napkin and the brush by napkin. This is the lighter blue color. Clean it by napkin. Some touch here is nice to have. And even 1 or 2 stroke here, so light and loose. Make sure not to be dark. And even around the eyes, and even between the eyes, even should be lighter than this. So clean the brush by water napkin and try to make it so light. 1 or 2 brush stroke would be fine. We don't need to make it busy really. This part of the eye as well. Under the nose. 1 or 2 stroke here. More is on face, which is bluey. And then keep it like that to get dry. Or even a little under. The feeling of blue, you can see it's creamy, but the feeling of blue is effect on that. And it makes so nice. So. Now about the features, I'm going to use the same color of the leash that I use, dark blue and the dark brown, because the eyes is dark too. So with a small brush, pointy, try to make and shape it. Pupil is so dark. Around is not much dark, but I'm going to shape it like that, and then bring the other color here. And the other eye, just I'm going to go with the darkness and then move on with lighter brown around it. On the top, it's more dark and curvy. Then clean it very well by napkin and water. Then I'm going to move inside with mustardy color or yellow ochre. All we need to make it dark. Back to the darker blue, which is ultramarine blue and dark brown. Actually, very less water. We need to have more pigment. This two hole is dark. And there is one line separate them from each other. Like that. So we can say finish with the features. So we can check everything that we need to do. To add something or not, that's fine. Just one more thing, I would like to have a shine inside the eyes. So we have two different ways to make the shine inside the eyes. And one is using, just let me add, okay. Just one thing is using white of the acrylic and just a dot bring it. Or after it gets dry completely, with a clean brush, just add one circle here and lift up the paint by touching the napkin. But I don't like this way. I prefer to add a drop of acrylic paint on top. So if you have acrylic, make sure it's better to use acrylic brush, or even if you use watercolor brush, so fast, please wash the brush. I'm going to use acrylic brush. Liney brush stroke, so narrow. For the shine, I'm going to add one line here, one circle inside this, and one circle as a shine, which is so interesting. Then clean the brush very well. So you can check after it gets dry. Sometimes we need to bold something, like adding some darkness here. For example, I see it's a little disappear, so I would like to bring some more darkness here. Again, add some more shadow here. Some more here. Even on the back of his hand.